Hey, we're here. It's me, I'm Dakota.
And the scientists finally got back to us, and my name is, in fact, Dylan.
I didn't know, dude. What the fuck? Why didn't you tell me?
Because I wanted it to be a secret for the podcast.
All right, cool. Well, then I guess that also just kind of helps out with the fact we're going, like right into the genuine stupidity because we still have yet to come up with another segment for this show.
I agree.
We'll get to it. We're being kind of lazy about it so far, but people are being lazy about listening to our podcast in the sense that they're not fucking doing it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which is like the worst decision you can make. I mean, the first two episodes sound like dog shit, but that was a technical error that will be covered on our TikTok. I'll talk about that later. So, yeah, Dylan, you want to tell your story for the genuine stupidity first?
Yeah, so today we're talking about drunk stories.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And
probably because I got drunk. I'm just kidding. I haven't drank in like 5 months. I realized that the other day. It was weird.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I was reading random stories on the interwebs.
Yeah.
And I found one, and it said, "My first night back in town after nearly 6 months away at work was extremely wild. So wild, in fact, by about 10 p.m., I was already looking for a safe spot to pass out and sleep, while about 25 friends and acquaintances kept the party going in the front room."
Sounds like my apartment circa 1 fucking year ago. Except
Literally.
I was throwing the parties.
Yeah.
And
it was
my roommates were trying to sleep. I was such a piece of garbage. Boy, I almost just spit my water out of my fucking computer. We would have had so many problems. The audio quality would have been the least of our issues at that point.
Yeah. So, after he was trying to find a place to sleep, or she, I don't know, they said, "Drunk as I was, no shame whatsoever, I waltzed back into the living room in my undershirt and boxer briefs." I would assume this is a guy. I don't know for sure still. "To inquire about borrowing a pillow and blanket so I could rest my weary head. I was standing there in my skivvies, facing the entire party when an old quote-unquote friend snuck behind me and yanked my undies down to my ankles in front of everybody. In my drunken state, I didn't see who did it and assumed my BFF in the recliner nearest me had de-pantsed me. With briefs
Makes
still
sense.
around my ankles, I launched into an angry naked attack on my helpless drunken friend who had no idea where he even was.
Jesus Christ.
Loud, reverberating, rib-crushing blows rained down on him in my as my nakedness began to sober me up. It's been repeated from multiple witnesses that at one point my punching motion created so much forward swinging momentum that my saggy nutbag actually swung upward and knocked the Poptart out of my poor innocent friend's mouth."
It's the fucking Poptart. Oh my fucking god.
The Poptart.
Slapped Poptart out of a man's mouth with his balls.
He said after he smacked
Because
the
he
Poptart
punched. Because he threw a punch, his balls swung so hard, it just took out a fucking innocent Pop-Tart.
Honestly, I respect that. If you can swing hard enough that your balls swing too, nice. I'm proud of you.
Oh my fucking god, that's so fucking funny.
I mean, I haven't really tried to swing with my underwear off, so I don't really know.
I mean, I'm sure there's some motion. Like, if you're punching the right way, like, you're punching with your whole body, which means, yeah, your balls are probably swinging. You know what I mean? Also, I like how you said you didn't know the gender of this person, but you knew the story ended with a Pop-Tart ball situation.
I completely forgot, to be honest.
How do you forget about Pop-Tart balls?
That's fair.
That'll be the name of this episode, is Pop-Tart balls. We're done with the alliteration names from here on out. It's just going to be a random fucking bit from the episode. Just Pop-Tart balls. Oh my god.
So after the Pop-Tart ball incident...
There's more? Oh, yes. Oh, I'm strapped the fuck in and ready for the train ride that I'm on.
It's a sentence left.
Alright, well...
It says, I don't remember much after that, but I moved far, far away and won't drink liquor to this day.
Understandable. I kind of did the same thing about a year ago. Fucking... wow. Fucking Pop-Tart balls. Just absolutely decimated this man's snack.
I wonder what flavor Pop-Tart it was, to be honest. Because, I mean, like, after he smacked it, it was definitely testicle flavor. But I'm wondering beforehand.
What if it was, like, one of those really fucking good ones, like the Hot Fudge Sundae ones?
Ooh. I
Just...
would have been so upset if that was me.
Right. Like, bro, you just took out the most delicious, delectable Pop-Tart that exists.
Right?
Like, sure, it'll probably give you mouth cancer because of how sweet it is. But, and it'll definitely just take one of your teeth with it because of the amount of sugar.
Just a singular tooth.
Dude, okay, my teeth are fucked up. I don't know that's been, like, talked about on this podcast at all, but that's really all I'm going to really mention about it. I haven't had one of those Pop-Tarts in so fucking long. When I get my teeth fixed, that's the first fucking thing I'm eating. I swear to God. Once it's no longer a worry of the amount of pain I'll be in because of how sweet those fucking things are, oh my God, I'm gonna buy like a whole box of them and just mow the fuck down because I have missed those so much. Like, I can't express how much I love those fucking things. They're so good. But all right, I gotta pull out my phone and read off my story because boy oh boy, I don't remember it, but I did remember reading it and I do remember it being funny. So that's all that matters. Like how I say that, I was giving you shit for not remembering the end of your story. So this is genuine reaction from both of us because I don't remember a bit of this story.
Let's go.
It was July 3rd, and I was playing True America with a large group of friends, which is apparently like it's a drinking version or a drinking game version of the hot lava game. Don't touch the floor, yeah. Except in the middle of this section that you've designated. There's because I did actually end up looking this up and I do remember now. There's a designated area in the middle, assumably a table. It's got a bottle of liquor with a bunch of beers stacked up around it. Mm-hmm. And the first person to get to the bottle of liquor and like you have to finish your beer and take a shot, you win. Or like your team wins depending on the amount of people you're playing with.
Sounds kind of fun, honestly.
Right. So this person was like, I was playing True America with a large group of friends. I jumped on a couch and sliced my foot on a piece of metal framing. Only I was so drunk that I just thought, ouch, and just kept playing.
Solid. I
was wearing wool socks, so I didn't see any damage. Later, when I got home and I took my socks off, my foot was gushing blood. I wrapped my foot with practically an entire roll of toilet paper. Why was that your go-to? That's my real question here.
Right.
And decided to go to a doctor in the morning since it was about 3 a.m. The only problem was the next morning was the 4th of July, so all non-emergency rooms were closed. I called the medical officer from my work. I was at a summer stock theater, which is basically like summer camp for people working in theater. And the medical office was kind of like a camp nurse. And he told me to take a look at it and that I could meet him at the 4th of July parade our town was holding as our company had a float, so most people would be there. Sorry I'm reading this so weird. My brain's just like processing one sentence at a time.
Mine was too. It's okay.
So when I got there, he was dressed in a 3-piece American flag suit with a Smirnoff Ice in each hand. He was not in any condition to take a look at my very much still bleeding foot. Some of my friends hoisted me onto the company's float, so instead of receiving medical care, I was now in a parade. And in hindsight, I definitely should have just gone to the emergency room, but you live and you learn, I guess. I went to a non-emergency medical center the next day, and they said I could have gotten stitches, but it was too late. So now I have a large scar on my foot to remind me of my stupidity.
Beautiful.
Honestly, yeah. And I remember there was a comment that I read that was off of that story that was super fucking funny, but there's no way I'm finding that now. But yeah, I kind of wish I told my story first because yours was funnier. So, yeah, that's the genuine stupidity segment. Now let's tell each other other stories we haven't really heard before, but from our personal lives. So, what's the stupid thing you did while you were drunk one time, Dylan? Since we know that's who you are now. Don't worry, we're not telling the CIA, so keep it the fuck just between us.
And that's why I'm making noises.
Shut up! you let them know.
I think the most crazy time that I've had drunk was I was at one of my friend's house for his birthday party, and we ended up going to the park down the street from his house, and we were chilling, and then being drunk and being children at heart, we went on the playground.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's always a good time.
Yeah.
Whether you're drunk, sober, on anything other than drunk.
and then my friend decided to walk up the slide, which normally would have been fine.
Like 50-50, you're going down regardless.
Yeah. And it was a metal slide.
Okay, that's almost 100% you're going down. Unless you're wearing, like, boots.
He was fine for, like, literally until he got to, like, the middle. And then when he slipped, he went, like, he fell diagonal. So the side of the slide went, like, diagonal across his chest.
Oh!
And we were drunk, so he didn't feel shit.
Yeah, that's the perk.
He not walked up. He got up, and then he walked towards me, and I was like, bro, you fucking good? And he was like, yeah, my chest kind of hurts, but I think I'm good. And then right after that, I'm chilling. I do the same exact thing. But I don't fall this time. But since I'm going up the slide instead of down the slide, I don't realize that the bar is going to be right there when I stand up.
Oh, no.
And as soon as I stand up, you hear boom, and it just echoes throughout the whole playground. And
I love punching those bars on playgrounds. Like, I'll just hit them really hard so it makes that sound.
Same.
Not with my fucking head, though. At least I try to avoid that.
Yeah, I'm right after that, I blacked out for, like, a good 10 seconds. And I had to, like, I somehow sat myself down on the top of the slide, and I didn't fall down, luckily.
Blacking out's going to be a theme of my story, too. But continue.
Well, as soon as I fell down, as soon as I sat down and, like, came back to consciousness, I was like, fuck, my head hurts. I'm going to go on the monkey bars. So I went on the monkey bars. My ass slipped off the monkey bars, landed straight on my back. And I was like, I just hit my head on the slide. I just fell off the monkey bars. I'm done. I'm not doing anything.
I might have a mild concussion. And unlike that football scenario, I think I'm going to sit this one out.
Correct. I was actually smart that time. Well, kind of. I hit my head a couple times, so I don't know. And that is the end of my story.
All right. So I'm kind of torn between two different stories, but I'm going to tell the one I kind of prefaced to you earlier first and foremost. And it's honestly going to be kind of short because it's bits and pieces because I was blacked out and wow, it was a time. So, sorry, parents in advance. Parents of mine that are going to listen to this, maybe. So I was with my ex at the time, and my roommate was with his his girlfriend at the time. It was whatever, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. And our girlfriends' birthdays were like 3 days apart. So we decided to throw a party for both of them on the day in the middle. Just so that way we weren't, spending a bunch of money on two different parties. And we could just have one big ass fucking blowout party for a day. And oh boy, did we do that. And I kind of trashed the first quarter of the party. And so the mistake that was made was me and my buddy's girlfriend were left at the house alone with all the alcohol for the party. And we were both borderline alcoholics at the time anyways. And we started day drinking. We started day drinking quite heavily. And my girlfriend was at work. My buddy was at work, if I'm not mistaken. And me and her were just sitting there getting fucking hammered. And it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We were almost blackout drunk at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This party was supposed to go literally all night. Mm-hmm. And so we also had a specific little party favor on its way over that I was in charge of getting care of, which was a strip of acid, which if you don't know is 10 tabs of acid, which is enough to really set a party off, when there's not even 10 people. So when this dude finally showed up with the acid, I was so fucking hammered. He had it wrapped up in a little piece of tinfoil. I went upstairs with it. And because I didn't want to forget, because I knew I was going to keep drinking, I wanted to cut because the strip wasn't pre-cut. So I had to cut the tabs out individually. But I was so fucking hammered, I probably fucked it up immensely. Because, and I the only reason I say might have is because I genuinely don't know. Because I barely remember this. What I do remember, though, is I cut that strip up into 10 tabs, and there was still about a tab and a half on my finger. So I said with my absolute blackout drunk brain, or almost blackout drunk brain, which, mind you, minor point I was supposed to bring up earlier, I wasn't supposed to be taking any of the acid for this party because I have a love-hate relationship with acid. Mm-hmm. And I was not going to take any, but I was like, fuck it. And I put it on my tongue. And the second it touched my tongue, I blacked out for 4 hours. And I only remember bits and pieces.
Jesus.
And I think the funniest part of the story is actually the end of the 4 hours. But we'll get to that. So one of the parts I remember, everyone that was there was trying to get me to lay down on the couch in our living room. And I kept trying to get up. I don't know how many times it happened. I was told it was at least 3. I tried to get up off of our couch, and you've seen the table I'm going to be talking about. The coffee table in our living room. Yeah. I bounced my head off the corner of that table at least 3 times from what I was told, trying to get up off of the couch. Apparently at some point somebody pulled out my chess set, which is glass, and was trying to play chess. Mm-hmm. I stood up off of the couch at one point and fell backwards into that chess set, and luckily nothing broke. But I had to be wrangled back to the couch, and
crikey.
This was the worst part of it. So at one point somebody mentioned it was raining. Uh-huh. And everybody went over to we had a balcony with a sliding glass door. So everybody went over to the door and was looking out and watching the rain. Nobody was watching me, who was heavily fucked up. I jumped up off of the couch and booked it out the fucking front door. It's the middle of September. It's fucking cold. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, running down the street. I almost broke my toe coming down the stairs because we lived on the second floor. And when I got to the bottom of the stairs, my big toe rolled under the rest of my foot. And I was like, oh, fuck that. And just kept running. And I made it maybe 50 feet down the road, running weird as shit, like nobody runs. I do kind of remember that. And I have this weird thing where my body doesn't control its temperature very well. So I shake very violently if I go from like kind of warm to it's kind of cold. I start shaking like a chihuahua in a fucking snowstorm over very subtle temperature changes. And this happened so bad because of the rain and me running and how cold it was with the wind. I literally just stopped and was shaking in the middle of the fucking road. And I turned around and saw how far away I was from the apartment, realized I didn't have my keys, and I was just like, all right, well, I guess this is my life now. And I like turned back around to keep walking, and then I turned around again, and my buddy was there. And he was like, let's get you back in the fucking house. Gets me back inside, and that was the last thing I remember until the end of the 4 hours. My girlfriend had just come home from work. They had gotten me to lay down in my bed, handed me a glass of water. I took like, I drank like half of the cup of water, and then I was laying like flat in my bed for a minute, and then just sat up like the fucking Manchurian Candidate, just straight up at the waist, and was like, I'm good. And I was just like mildly tripping on acid for the next like 8 hours, and I was fine. It was actually a pretty chill time. I don't know what happened for that insanity of 4 hours. I do remember, I worked at a gas station at the time, small side note to the story, and one of the people I met at the party that I did not remember meeting because I was in the middle of that acid blackout phase, came into the gas station and was like, hey man, how you doing? And I was like, I'm good, how are you? He's like, you remember me? I was like, I met you before? He's like, yeah, at that party. I was like, oh shit, yeah. Good first impression? And he's like, yeah, sure. It was my buddy's girlfriend's like brother-in-law or some shit. Yeah, it was a time. So yeah.
Jesus.
Listen, my first story was kind of weak. I had to pull up with a home run for the end of it. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't just gonna leave on a kind of a whiff. You know,
Right.
Might have been like I might have made it to first base. I might have been walked. That one I think was a home run.
I agree.
I'm making a bunch of baseball references and I don't like baseball. I think that's funny. And the other small story I have was there was one time. Wait a minute, have I told? I might have told this story actually. I was getting drunk with my friend's dad for his 40th birthday, and this dude that was my friend's dad's friend, who was also like 40, he made what I thought was a joke about me being cut off because I wasn't that drunk, but he was like, oh, you're fucking cut off, whatever. And he took my beer and he set it down. And I was like, oh, whatever. And I grabbed my beer and I took a sip of it. And this man went from 0 to 100 so goddamn fast. I'm 16, 17 at the oldest. Again, this man was 40 years old. He was probably a good 5 feet away from me, and I was a good 10 feet away from the wall behind me. And the next thing I knew was he was like slamming me into that wall that was 10 feet behind me.
Jesus.
Like I had no fucking clue what happened. This man went just ham for no reason, and I freaking the fuck out, just started laughing. And my buddy was like right next to us, and he also started laughing because he was very fucking nervous as to what was about to happen. And this dude got very angry at the fact that we were laughing at him. And it was fucking nuts. Like, I don't really remember a lot of the details from it, but yeah, I got attacked by a 40-year-old man when I was like 17 because I thought he made a joke about me being cut off.
Nice.
And I took a sip of beer. A fucking sip.
Glug, glug, glug.
No, just...
Wait.
What the fuck was that? It sounded like you farted out of your throat.
I did.
Oh.
It was for the listeners. When you guys fucking listen.
Yeah. If you ever do. Which, I think this is where we're going to cut this one off because I'm running out of things to say. I don't know about you.
I always run out of things to say, to be honest.
Fair enough. All right, well, I guess bye then. I was Dakota.
Bye from Fit Burger.
Hey, we might be able to get in trouble for that if this ever gets listened to by anybody.
Fuck, that is true.
Fred, fuck.